Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another large block land vehicle, and this one is great to act as a companion for any kind of medium-sized mining vehicles, so you can go out and about mine ore patches, and well, carry it along with you, store a bunch of resources in our two large cargo containers, and we do have a few systems set up on the AI block thanks to the latest update. This thing is called the MTCL Large Truck, which is this lovely thing that I'm currently standing on, and it has everything you need to safely mine resources and drag a large load back to your base. So pressing F10 and finding this in the spawn menu, the MTCL Large Truck is 401 large blocks, using pretty much all the DLC packs and no mods. We do have one script on here, which is the automatic LCD swing script. We'll see that a bit later on. But on the workshop page, we've got a nice lot of information about it, as well as a suitable mining ship that you can slot onto the back of this, because it was intended for this vehicle. But of course you can use any old mining ship you want, as long as it can fit on the back, and you should be good to go. Down to here we can see the general information such as its power, its batteries and hydrogen engines, and we do have some defense in the form of interior turrets. So give this thing a thumbs up, move around towards the very front, we'll have a quick look around the outside, we'll walk around on foot, so there is a few places where we can go, and then we'll just drive around for a bit, and I think that'll be that. So at the very front, this is what we get. So right in the middle, we got a bunch of heat vents with some armoured panels on the front. We've got some spotlights to light up the darkness, as well as two connectors, so if you did have, say, a smaller mining ship, you can use these front ports, or even use it to unload stuff into your base. Right below there, we can see an ore detector, so you can go out and about and scout for ore patches, saves you having to put one on your mining ship. Then to the left and right of that, we can see our hydrogen engines, give it a bit of power, sitting behind those catwalks. Right in front of our ore detectors, we've got some great use of our armoured panels, as well as a little half catwalks, just to act as a little bumper. As we had to move around onto the side, we see our lovely wheels, which I think are the size 2 wheels, but what we will see are our interior turrets for a bit of defense. Up there is our AI controller block, where we've got some steps to go up and inside to our control seat area, where we do have a way down thanks to a ladder shaft to go further into the ship. We'll see that a bit later on. Continuing along over to here, we've got a ladder to be able to get up from the ground, with a piston and a magnetic plate which have all been automatically set up, so we can press a button which is sitting right below there, it'll deploy all the way down to the ground, automatically lock itself in place, then when you hit the button again, thanks to the AI block, it'll then retract the piston, then after it gets a bit of resistance, it will undo the magnetic plate and allow you to drive away. Moving across over to here, we've got a couple more interior turrets, we see all of our wheels which will be very useful once this thing is all full up and heavy. Then towards the back of this thing, if I turn off my lights, all the way around towards here, got another connector to unload stuff or load stuff up, got two more spotlights to light up the back, so if we're reversing this, it will be quite useful. And this gap at the top is where your mining ship will be sitting. So this was designed for another one which was listed on the workshop page, but if you have another one, you simply have to get it in this area and clamp it down, and you'll be fine. If you were to move along just a little bit, so we've got some walls on the side to give it a bit of protection from any kind of stray shots. Over to this section is one of two cargo containers, and they are set up once again with the AI block, so once they get a certain amount full, it'll then increase the power of the wheels, make sure you're not being weighed down and risking any kind of damage underneath the vehicle. Very handy setup, a very unique setup, thanks to the new blocks. Yes, we've got some steps come all the way around, that'll eventually lead to the front of the ship. If we just look all the way down like so, that's how that looks. There's our two cargo containers. Then once the lag spike has ended, we move across here. Here's our steps to come up to our control seat area, where we've got some windows to peer down and inside. We've got to then drop down and come underneath this thing, pass our ore detector all the way down. We're not going to be able to see too much, mainly because of all the grass, but it's going to be a bunch of steel blocks and our wheel suspensions, and not really too much to talk about. In fact, I will just grab hold of my character, because we will need to go on this in just a second, but we can come down underneath it, first person view. There we go, we can see a sort of area that will link up to the front of the ship. Moving all the way towards the back. Plenty of areas for you to do some repair work if it ever took damage. What I'll do for the moment is come around over to here. This is our piston system. There's our AI controller block. I think it's called the event controller. Completely forgot what it's called. But there's our button panel, where if I was to press this, it's going to come all the way down to the ground, the opposite one as well. Then it's just going to simply clamp itself down and lift the vehicle slightly off the ground. And there we go, so it's slightly raised, and then with a click of a button once again, despite having a button up here to undo the magnetic plate, it won't be necessary, so I can press this, and then just automatically undoes the magnetic plate, then lifts the pistons all the way up. A very handy system. But yes, now what I can do is just jump grab hold of the ladder, move all the way up, and we can have a better look around this on foot. So here we are up top next to our 2 cargo containers. For the moment, we're going to walk all the way around, come to our little landing bay for our mining ship. Looking around here, LCD screen telling us our cargo used on both containers. Then to the opposite side, it's going to be basically the same as what we just saw. There's our piston, and there's our 2 containers. Walking around on this section, we do have a little hidey hole, so if you are getting shot, you can just cower in fear in this section. But walking around, here's some more event controllers. These ones are going to be for our wheels, where once the vehicle reaches a certain weight, all they're going to do is increase the power of the wheels. Just hopping in here for the moment, we can see once the cargo container is filled at a certain percentage, with container 1 being the selected block, coming up to set up actions, we see that it will increase the wheel power, be able to offset the weight. Anyway, coming out of here, we now walk all the way around up these steps and head on inside. So we have a fantastic view of what's going on all the way around us, and we do have a window here inside, but we can open up this doorway, and this is what we get. There's a ladder shaft that goes all the way down into the vehicle. We have a handy little LCD screen telling us all the groups in the control menu. So we've got our batteries, connectors, magnetic plates, pistons, our systems, which is everything we don't need while docked up to a base, our turrets, wheels, and then a little tidbit at the bottom, but I'm not too sure what that's about. Anyway, turning towards front, there is our control seat, and looking down, we see the tops of our heat vents. But before we get into that seat, we need to come down this ladder shaft, so all the way down we come, and now we're on the inside. This is where a programmable block is sitting, which has the automatic LCD screen script. But looking around the room, there is a time block, and to the opposite side, not too much going on in here, but it's still a handy little place to hang out if you are in trouble and, well, getting torn to shreds by a turret. Looking down here, here's one of our hydrogen engines. Looking around there's a conveyor. And yes, there's not too much else to talk about. Anyway, back up the ladder, coming to that control seat. All the way up. Down we come, and into the seat. Bring up the HUD, I don't really need to go through this because it's all written handily on the LCD screen in front. But as you can see on tab number 1, we've got our handbrakes, wheel power, wheel height, our docking trigger, our systems, and for our batteries to auto recharge. On tab number 2, this is all about our wheels. We've got our power, friction, strength, and steering. Then just below that, we do have some handy information where it says the suspension height may need to be manually changed to max other connectors. Our wheels will automatically change thanks to the event controller, but we may need to manually adjust them if we need to. Then down below is to keep the magnetic plates to auto, because they are automatically unlocked thanks to the event controller block. But with that all done and out of the way, I don't need to actually touch any of these buttons. We're going to come back to tab number 1, press number 2, and drive this thing around. So moving forwards, straight off the bat, we are pretty damn fast for such a large vehicle, but we are not full up, so it will be a bit different when we are nice and heavy because of those 2 containers. But driving along here, it doesn't look like we have any kind of restrictions on our wheel speed, so we are going to slowly go up to 100 meters per second, which is going to be pretty dangerous for, well, any vehicle. Coming to a stop, slamming on the brake, it does look like we have a bit of a problem, which is why I like to check that out. Slamming on the emergency brake with spacebar, because we are tipping over, and now we're on our roof. So just hopping out here and spawning in a brand new one. Yes, you do have to be a little bit careful when driving around at high speeds, so, well yeah, just be careful. But dropping this in, once it loads we'll get back inside it, and there it is. Coming up to here, getting inside once again, into here, pressing number 2, and now we're going to do a sharp corner. So all the way around, let's see if this has any problems. And no, it does not. That's always a good one to check out, because what you don't want to do is do a sharp corner and end up flipping this, like I did over there. As for that, the only issue with this is of course flipping over. That's easily solved by putting a speed limit on these. So we've got to find the wheels, and say put the speed limit down to about there. That should be good enough. That should be around about 45 meters per second, and we'll be nice and safe as we travel around. But as for that is pretty much it for all this vehicle has to offer. It's just a lovely thing to have as a companion to your mining vehicle if you were to go out and about on a planet to scout for a lot of resources. But yes, like I said, that's pretty much it for this video. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you wish to download and play around with it yourself. Highly recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.